like when the internet tells me what to read. Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to be letting Amazon choose what I read. I love Kindle Unlimited. I love Amazon. That is no secret. Maybe not the business practices, but like I like what they provide. I like that I can go into the Kindle Unlimited library and find pretty much anything I could possibly ever want. And what I really like is the functionality of the suggestions that Kindle Unlimited provides. I was perusing the catalog the other day and I saw this section called Books You May Like in Kindle Unlimited. And it got me thinking, like, is Amazon better at picking books for me than I am for myself? Typically when I pick books from Kindle Unlimited, I peruse the catalog as a whole. I try to find authors that I'm familiar with or covers that look exciting, but I'm wondering if Amazon is actually better at this than I am. Do they know my taste better than I do? So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I'm going to be picking 2 books that Amazon suggests for me. I'm going to be picking 2 books that I am just interested in reading, generally speaking, and I'm going to compare and see who is better at this, me or this algorithm. So I am going to pull up screen recording and we can find some books for me to read in this here video. Very excited about this. So obviously we're going to be using the Books You May Like in Kindle Unlimited feature. There are obviously other categories here as well. Maybe that actually isn't obvious, but you can see now perhaps that it is. Books we're loving this month in Kindle Unlimited. This doesn't seem like it's something that's targeted specifically on a per reader basis, so I'm not as interested in this. Same with popular news and magazine subscriptions. Other things that are potentially interesting would be like inspired by your browsing history, but I feel like this has more of a recency bias because I'm noticing a lot of fantasy books, and I did just pick up a fantasy romance to read for another video that I'm doing, and I'm not in the mood for that. I don't want that, but I guess if that is like what you were immediately interested in, like you just finished, let's say, your favorite romantasy book ever, maybe this would help you. There's also based on your reading. I'm wondering how this is differing from Books You May Like. I don't know, but we're gonna go with Books You May Like because I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit more general. It's not so on the nose. It's not like, hey, you just read a romantasy book, read another one. So this is what we're working with. And I'm not going to go on the see more feature. I'm just going to select what's here and things that I can scroll. So looking at this right now, I'm seeing He's Not My Type by Megan Quinn. I have read books from this series before, but I'm not sure if I really want to dive into another one of these. This is a suggestion that feels a little bit too on the nose for me. The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer is one that's compelling because I've heard that this author's writing has improved. I've read one book by her where I attempted to. I believe I DNF'd it though. So it's interesting to me that they're suggesting this book. So I'm like kind of interested in this one. I feel like this might be a good choice simply because I have read from this author before, and so I can understand like why the suggestion was made. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one up and kind of look at the synopsis. I mean, I don't really need to know, oh, fake dating, hockey romance. All right, I'm in. I don't need anything else. I was literally going to search fake dating for me selecting my own KU reads, but if, I mean, Amazon thinks that I need a fake dating romance, mayhaps that's why they're suggesting it. I have looked up fake dating in the past. I have searched that, so that could be it. And then we have some books that are interesting. I've never read any books by QB Tyler before, which has kind of got me interested. Let me pull this one up and see what this is all about. The boss is unashamedly into you. All right, so, oh, it could be read as a standalone or a prequel. It's 232 pages. Maybe I'm not totally sold on this one. The Graham Effect, I'm reading for a different video and it's too fucking long for this one, in my humble opinion. Oh. My Darling Bride by Ilsa Madden Mills. This one's like appealing to me because again, I like love this author. Is this a new title? Yeah, December 5th. Football star. I do like football. Okay. This is a potential. I feel like I shouldn't pick 2 by authors that I've read from before, but I really am interested in that one. This is interesting. I have read most of these books. Wall of Winnipeg, Bodyguard, Long Game. I don't want to read a Christmas romance. I don't want to read, I've already read Devney Perry. I don't, no, nothing on this page. This page is interesting. And none of the covers are super appealing to me. I did like Hopeless. What do I click on? Can I keep scrolling? I'm gonna keep scrolling. P.S. You're Intolerable? All right, I gotta see what the fuck this is about. That's just an iconic title. Okay, so this looks like it's another workplace romance. Oh, here's the tropes. Grumpy sunshine, curvy female main character, single mother, boss assistant. I feel like I have to do this one. It has good ratings, which is nice. 4.3 on Goodreads. Oh, is that a new feature? I've never seen that on Amazon before. I really like that. Okay. I think these should be my 2 selections. I feel like The Fake Out and You're Intolerable. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. So like author I've tried before, author I haven't. I'm curious as again to why they're recommending this one to me because this isn't like tropes that I typically reach for or like search up. I've never read from this author. I don't know. I'm not normally a boss assistant girly, but like, I don't know. Maybe Amazon knows something I don't. Now we get to do the fun part, which is browsing the catalog. This is normally how I navigate Kindle Unlimited. I don't know how y'all find your KU books. Is it just through recommendations? Do you let your Kindle app on your phone help you? I really like desktop. Like if I have the opportunity, I try to use desktop mode, and I like to browse the catalog specifically. So I'll go down and select romance, and I don't really want the ones that are like most popular right now. I'm kind of in a new adult mood. So I think I'm gonna select the new adult in college over here and see what we can find. I wouldn't call Hunting Adeline particularly collegiate, but you know, it's bestseller. I'm sure this is just like an advertisement one. I think like the first few search results are usually advertisements or like bestsellers. So I'm gonna kind of just scroll past these. We have an Avery Keelan book. I feel like I don't know which ones of hers I've read and if these books have gotten new covers. So I think I'm just gonna like scroll past these. No Coho. I can't do it. I can't do that to myself. All right, maybe page 2. We'll have better luck. Okay, we could do it super on the nose and do like hockey romance versus hockey romance. Pucking wrong number, a disturbing anti-hero, and yet. Okay, he has major red flags. Okay, I don't think I'm in the mood for that right now. I want something a little softer, mayhaps. Small town single dad second chance romance. I don't think that's what I'm in the mood for, particularly. Triple play for the single mom, huh? This is not going according to plan. Okay, is this one gay? Because if so, I might be interested. Let's see. I loved their friendship. Okay, I'm not getting gay from this. Friends to Lovers Blueprint. Okay, so many people are saying this is good, and I've never heard of this author before. Is it a female romance? I don't know. It doesn't say. Oh, it does. Lesbian fiction. Oh, yes, we're doing this. We're doing this. Yes, okay. Love. Slay. What else do we have? Please, something good. A River Enchanted? No. Okay, this is one that I was looking at recently and the cover appealed to me, but is it too dumb of me to do like, I always say that I don't like animated covers, but like, I don't know, they've been appealing to me lately. What can I say? So this is a, okay, red flag. To be honest, the heroine likes to spend her time with a head buried in a spicy romance novel. Honestly, I wish that this was clickable. Like, I wish I could like go to Goodreads from this. Amazon, work on that. Basketball player and book lover. To insta-levy? Okay. Maybe not. What else can we read? What is appealing to me? Iron Rogues? It's been a while since I've read an MC romance. I don't know, it's not jumping out at me. All right, maybe we need to pick a different subgenre to grab from. I did find, again, a new adult college romance that seems exciting. And it just also happens to be a lesbian romance, which we love to see. Maybe romantic comedy? I don't know, I'm like not in the mood for anything super specific. Or should I just do contemporary? Let's just do contemporary and see where that leads us. Probably not anywhere good. Oh, goodness. Maybe I myself will pick My Darling Bride. Did Amazon technically recommend it to me? Yes. Does that kind of make this comparison challenging? I don't think so. I mean, I think I would have picked this one up on my own. I don't think I needed Amazon to recommend this one for me. And like, sure, I could find something like obscure to read, but that's not normally how I select to pick my books anyway. Like, if it's a trope or something I'm really, really interested in, I'm going to maybe go with an author that I don't normally read from or have never read from before. But if it's an author I know I like that feels like a typical search process for me, right? So I think these are our 4 books. I didn't want to keep scrolling this really bleak contemporary section here with like such an interesting mix of things. We're going to read The Fake Out, and we're going to read P.S. You're Intolerable as the Amazon picks. And for my own picks, I'm doing On the Same Page by Haley Cass and My Darling Bride by Ilse Madden Mills. So I'm excited to see where this leads us. Let's go ahead and get into the vlog portion of the video. I think what I'm going to do is an Amazon book and then a book I picked, and then an Amazon book, then a book I picked, and we can head to head, you know what I mean? Let's get into it. Okay, so I am 20% into The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer, and I am really fucking enjoying it. I was gonna wait until I got to like the 50% mark to update you, but I'm just already very much enjoying it, so I figured I would just let you know that. I kind of prefer the organic approach, or at least that's what I've been trying to do lately, where I just let you know if I like a book in the moment rather than like waiting till a certain benchmark to let you know. Not that anyone cares or needed that preamble, but this book's about our 2 main characters, Hazel and Rory. Hazel is a physiotherapist for the hockey team, and Rory is one of the star players. He is dissimilar to the hero in the first book in the series, which I have read, in that he is not like the strong silent type. He is kind of a ladies' man. He is a little bit more, I don't want to say ostentatious, but he definitely like brags quite a bit, and I really love his persona. Essentially, the romance kind of starts, the fake dating, obviously, that's kind of what the title implies. The fake dating starts when Connor, come here. If you're new here, I have a deaf cat. This is Binky. He says hello. Essentially, the fake dating part of this romance starts when Hazel's ex, Connor, gets traded to this team. I don't remember what the name of the team is, but they're in Vancouver. And Connor was kind of a dick to our heroine. They had kind of a nasty breakup. They dated in high school. And I guess they went to the same high school as Rory. Like, they've known Rory for a long time too. I say they. Hazel and her sister Pippa, who is the heroine of the last book. Hazel has been assigned to Connor for physio. She just does not like the situation. He's implying that she asked to be assigned to him, and he's just like a real piece of work. So she implies that she is dating Rory. Not even implies, she states that she is, even though she has not discussed this with Rory, which is fine because he's already like asked her out and has shown interest in her. So whenever I guess Rory finds out that Hazel has said that she is dating him, he's like, oh yeah, let's do this. And he is going to take advantage of this because it's going to, I guess, bolster his, status as the team captain. He needs to have this like kind of cleaned up image, and he thinks that fake dating Hazel will do this. So I am really enjoying this book. I think what makes this one kind of stand apart from other fake dating books for me is just the tone and the way everything is handled. I feel like oftentimes fake dating can feel also kind of enemies to lovers or something like that, and I like this one because while Hazel is hesitant to date Rory or fake date him, she still has a fun time flirting with him. He is really into her, which I really, really like, and yeah, I just think the banter has been really fun. There's also just like a very palpable sexual chemistry, and I love that this book just kind of goes for it immediately. Like, there's not a lot of preamble, there's not a lot of time spent with internal dialogue, although we do get internal dialogue from both characters. You're just kind of thrown into a really fun romance situation, and I think for most people, like when you're picking up a KU read, that's kind of what you're looking for. I could be wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like introspective romances that are like, you know, a little bit more drawn out, slow moving, but sometimes I just want the pace of the book to feel zippy and like I can get through it quickly, and that's how I'm feeling about this one. So I'm having a good time. I'm sure I'll have an even better time now that my bestie is down here with me to read. But yeah, I am excited to just like curl up in my reading chair over here. I'm not currently in it because the lighting is pretty bad over there, but let me get into my comfy, cozy reading chair, just enjoy the shit out of this book. And then I think once the sun sets, we can start in on something else. I think probably, is it My Darling Marriage? My Darling, I don't know, the Ilse Van Mills one that I picked out. We'll read that one next. We literally have so much to discuss. This is going so much better than expected. It's kind of insane to me, and I'm also sort of like, this video, I don't want to say it doesn't have a purpose, like it certainly does, but am I proving the purpose? I'm not really sure. Let's talk about The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. This book was so good, and I don't understand why it was so good. So I've read other books by this author. The first book in the series, I either DNF'd or gave like 2 stars. It was so sex heavy, even though the beginning of the book had me like very excited. And so I wasn't expecting much from this one, even though a couple of my subscribers have said like, oh, I really like this one. This fucked so hard. It was just so good, and it's one of those books that is not remarkable in any way, and that sounds mean. I don't mean it in a mean way, but I just mean to say that it didn't do anything particularly like inventive or new, but it took familiar tropes, likable characters, and like really good pacing and just fucking went for it. I loved the fake dating in this fucking book. I loved it. I thought it was so charming. I loved the little details. Like, he ends up giving her like a $3,000 dragon figurine because I don't remember exactly what he calls her, like his fire breathing dragon or something, because she's like a little bit feisty, which I thought was like kind of fun and original. And if there's one thing that I think more authors should do, it's less of the unhinged hero who's an asshole thing and do more of the hero who is nice and generous and actually gives a shit about the heroine. I don't know why that is like groundbreaking or like something that people need to be told, but I just think that we need more of that. And I get it, people like different things, and like dark romance exists for people who like that kind of thing, but this was fucking great. Like, it was so good. And it's one of those books that like after it was done with it, I was really racking my brain on how to rate it because again, it wasn't unique, but when I was trying to think of anything that I would change, I couldn't think of a single thing. So I give it 5 stars. It was very good. Amazon really got me. They convinced me to read an author that I probably wouldn't have given a second chance. And I say second chance, I think I definitely DNF'd a less popular book by this author before that other book that I tried to read. So like, I have not had the best luck with her stuff, but this one was so good. It was so good. 5 stars, amazing. Like, I don't know, maybe Amazon is going to be the winner of this. I don't actually know, but I think they were right. I might like it. No, I did like it. Thank you, Amazon. Never thought I'd say it, but thank you, Jeff Bezos. Okay. Haley Cass's On the Same Page is a book that I picked up for myself, obviously. It's a book about girls who like girls, question mark. This is so good too. What the fuck? I'm having like such a good time reading. And it's not that I've had a bad reading year so far. Like, I've only read 6 or 7 books, and the majority of them have actually been pretty good. I don't think I've given out any like 1 stars. I don't even know if I've given out any 2 stars. am I on like a new wavelength? I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you this is so good and so different than anything I've ever read. So this book's about our two main characters, Riley and Gianna, I believe her name is. They were roommates in college, and in the present day, they are both graduated. They both are successful in their careers. Gianna is like a famous influencer. She's really beautiful. And then we've got Riley, who is also beautiful, but she is working in news. And so she's always like very busy and hectic, but she's also trying to date. That's like Riley's thing, is she wants to date. She wants to find someone as like a romantic partner. And Gianna like hooks up with people, but doesn't really have any interest in that. But Riley is kind of wanting to give up on love. She's like, I'm just fucking sick of all these terrible dates. The beginning of the book opens on this awful date that she's on. And after she ends up leaving early, she goes to her friend Gianna's place and they do laundry together. I guess that's like one of their friendship bonding activities. Maybe that started back in college, but they put all of their laundry together sort of by colors and like do the laundry together. I don't know why I thought that was like cute and charming, but it's just something that like I've never thought to do or read before. I don't know. And they're talking about their love lives and I guess lack thereof on Gianna's part. And then we are given a flashback, which is so fascinating to me. Not that flashbacks are like a new concept, but the execution of flashbacks is very interesting. So we've got Gianna, who is like coming back to her dorm room after an astronomy exam that she probably did poorly on, and she has this encounter with a fellow classmate, and she's a total fucking bitch. Like, I was really uncomfortable reading it, and I was like, oh my god, like, where are we going with this? I am uncomfortable. Like, are we trying to excuse this behavior? It wasn't justified what she did, but also, like, the person was kind of a dick to her, so I was like, okay, what's going on here? She gets back to her dorm room, and Riley is packing up for the, like, winter holiday, and her twin sister's there, and Gianna has this realization that Riley has never told Gianna about her twin sister, and Gianna feels really offended by this. Like, why wouldn't you tell me something about yourself? Like, I thought we were friends. I thought we had developed a friendly relationship. Riley and her have had like kind of a tentative friendship, I guess, their freshman year, like living together, but Gianna definitely has a very different friend group, and Riley like never really wants to go out and party with them. They have kind of a confrontation where Riley's like, yeah, I didn't tell you about my sister because my sister was bullied in high school, and I'm sorry, but like you are a mean girl, and I really didn't want my sister to have to like put up with the way you behave. And I was like, oh, T, like this is nothing I've ever read in a book before, and I really, really like it. I love character transformation. I think that is one of the most powerful things about literature, and it is something that I really, really, really love to see in books, whether it is character transformation from like being a bad person to a good person, or it is something as simple as like, you know, changing your relationship to another person and like having healing in that regard. I don't know. I just like to see people change and grow over the course of a story. Like, cool, it's awesome if you fall in love, but like, where's the other stuff, right? And having that in the flashbacks is so cool, and I think shows such a deepness, I guess you could say, to the friendship, right? Like, if we have Gianna going on this journey to become a better person because of her friendship with Riley, that is such a powerful thing. And I think having that going into the romantic portion of this book is going to be so good. Also, this book is already so fucking gay. Like, I believe Riley has always thought she was straight. I mean, she's not going to be straight by the end of the book, I'm sure. I believe Riley thinks that she is straight, and I know Gianna is bisexual. So, I don't know. It's interesting the way that they behave with each other, because it's definitely not very, very straight, and I like that. Like, they're at a holiday party together that Gianna's putting on. This is like in the present day. They like kind of lean into each other and like, I don't know, like kind of like nuzzle into each other. Everybody's like, well, not everybody. There's an acquaintance of theirs that turns to one of their friends and is like, are they together? And their friend's like, no, that's just them. That's just them. They're just girls being girls. And I'm like, are they? Are they? I love it. I am loving this so far. I love the chemistry between the two of them. I feel like their friendship in the present day, like from the jump, has felt so organic and so real, and the conversations that they have are not surface level. That's the one, not even a complaint, it's not a complaint really. That's a contrast, I would say, between these two books, is that a lot of the conversations in the Stephanie Archer book, while I loved how quick paced that was and how like readable it was, this one I'm liking because the conversations between the two women, like they feel like conversations I'd have with a girlfriend if I were like just really like lamenting my life or like really wanted to get deep, and I really like that. A lot of the reviews for this are like 5 stars. This is amazing, groundbreaking, incredible, and I could definitely see that. I'm hoping the trend continues. Again, I'm only 20% in. I'm gonna keep reading this. Like it's, what time is it? 10:18. I normally go to sleep at like 11:30. I'm gonna read until I go to sleep, and then I'm gonna get my lazy ass out of bed tomorrow and read some more of this because I'm just eating it up. This is an amazing challenge. Hats off to me for doing this. I think it's just kind of a coincidence, to be honest, but I'm gonna run with it and say that I have great taste, and I guess so does the Amazon algorithm. Okay, hopefully this trend continues. What if I get like 4 or 5 star reads? I'm sure we're gonna have a shitty one. I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm not gonna jinx it. Okay, party people, hello. We're in the car. We just went to Best Buy. I just got a new baby vlog camera. Not that that's relevant to what we're talking about right now. I'm 50% into On the Same Page, and it is so good, and I just wanted to pop in and just remind you that it's so good, as if you weren't here 5 seconds ago when I told you that I was 20% in and it's so good, but it's continuing to be a really great read, and I am so grateful for that. Someone asked me in my Discord, they were like, I think one of your goals for last year was to like get to 50 5-star reads. Did that happen? It didn't happen last year, and I don't think it's gonna happen this year either, but it's already off. I'm off to a much better start this year than I was last year, and this book is just proof of that. I'm loving the way that things are shaking out. So basically, I think I told y'all I was like unsure of like how the relationship would come to be and like how they would actually start going from friends to lovers. Essentially, one of the characters is gifted, like one of the heroines is gifted a gift by the other heroine, and it's something like, you know, I know you're kind of going through a hard time right now, like I think we should start doing more activities together, and here are some things that we can do. And it was a box of sex toys, and so she starts like thinking about her friend in a way that she's never thought of her friend before, and I think it's pretty clear as a reader that like her friend didn't mean to give her a box of sex toys, and she finds out later that her friend didn't mean to give her a box of sex toys, but she only finds that out by making out with her best friend, kind of surprising her best friend, and her friend's like, hey, it's not really what I meant, but this is also very hot, so we can keep doing this if you want. And now they are kind of doing like a friends with benefits sort of situation, which I feel like implies that like you become friends and you have benefits, but like they're already friends and they're just fucking. And they're like, it doesn't mean anything, it definitely means something, and I like it, and the sex is hot, and the friendship's fun, and it's just so good. I think we've talked about this before. I feel like I have mixed luck with sapphic books. Like, I love the idea of them, but most of the time they're like too soft, not sexy enough, don't have that like perfect relationship development I'm looking for, which is a shame because like I don't think that sapphic books are any less valid, you know what I mean, than like a straight romance. But this one's really fucking great, and I'm very much liking it. The reviews for it are also like just so favorable. Everybody's like, I wish this book never ended, 5 stars, and I'm kind of feeling that. Like, I don't want it to end. It's a good time. That being said, I am going to finish it, and we can move on to some other books because it is Saturday. I'm posting this video tomorrow, and I have 2 books left to read. So today's just going to be a day where I get to, I was gonna say strap in, which was maybe a little too close to strap on, and read some books. All right, y'all. I just finished On the Same Page. Not just finished. I finished it a second ago. I've actually gotten 20% into P.S. You're Intolerable. Doesn't roll off the tongue. On the Same Page was so good that I think it might be one of my favorite books that I read this entire year. This is without a doubt my favorite sapphic romance I've ever read. So if you're looking for something gay and something delightful, you have to pick this up. The romance was so strong and was built on such a strong foundation that I feel like the friends to lovers element just worked so well here. I could definitely see how Gianna could be like harboring feelings for Riley and just like not wanting to say anything to ruin their friendship. I could see how Riley could realize like, wow, okay, wait, our relationship has been a little gay this entire time. We just haven't been doing the sex part. I just loved it. The sex scenes were incredibly well written and sexy, which is a complaint that I have in most books really, is that this one is just not very good. And especially in sapphic books, I just feel like it's definitely not true for every sapphic book I've ever read, and especially the past few that I've read have been really great. But usually they tend to be a little on the like softer side of things. And it's not that I don't want things to be vanilla. Like I don't need things to be like BDSM or like whatever, but I want there to be some like sexiness, some passion behind the sex scenes. I feel like oftentimes they're too soft and sweet. This was not the case here. The sex scenes were so good and so hot, which was so welcome, and I think like helped so much with like the tension and the stakes of the story. I just really loved how different both of these women were. I liked seeing how they complemented each other and played off of each other, and their just unwavering support of one another I thought was really sweet. I was wondering like how the conflicts would come into this book and what would drive these two apart, and I felt like the conflict felt very natural, and I also didn't feel like it was very drawn out. I really hate drawn out third act conflicts, even if it's like a breakup. That's fine. I actually don't hate a third act breakup, which I know a lot of people do. I just need it to be defined. I need it to not last forever and like be boring and take away from the pacing of the story. And in this book, the third act conflict really worked. I loved the resolution of the story. The only complaint, honestly, that I have is that I wanted the epilogue. I wanted to see these two married and like living their best life and with children. I just wanted that. We didn't get that, but it's definitely heavily implied that that happens. And I can't say enough good things about this book. Like 5 stars, hands down, amazing. And when it comes to, I think, the Amazon versus me debate and whether or not I think that I'm better at choosing romances than Amazon, I think what I'm finding, and I think this definitely checks out and makes sense, is that if you rely on an algorithm to give you recommendations, it's going to work off of the things you've already read, right? I have read sapphic books from KU before, just not at the volume that I have maybe a sports romance. So the recommendations from Amazon, while good so far, was maybe a little safe. Like I really enjoyed that book. book. I thought it was a 5-star read, The Fake Out, but I felt like this one was truly remarkable because I took the time to go and seek that book out, and I took the time to find something that I thought would work for me. Granted, I didn't like, pour over all of these books' descriptions or synopses or whatever, but this one, I don't know, I just had a feeling about, and I'm glad that I went for it. So I don't necessarily think that I'm better at selecting romances than Amazon, but I will say it makes sense that I know my taste better, and I was able to find myself something like truly remarkable. So how the fuck am I getting 2 5-star reads already? Like, this is genuinely exactly what I needed, and I didn't know that I needed. So let's talk about P.S. I want to say like Despicable. That's not the name of the book. This book is about Elliot and Catherine, and Catherine is looking for a job to help her in her predicament, shall we say. She is very early on in her pregnancy at the start of the book, and she is living with her not boyfriend, not partner, but the guy that knocked her up, Liam. He is a guy that I think she met when she was traveling, when she was a little bit younger, and they are living in a house that they're fixing up together. I think the assumption is that they are going to live together and raise the baby together, co-parent. Liam basically like convinced Catherine that she should keep the baby, and she was like, okay, sure, sounds good. But pretty early on, we figure out that Liam's like not really going to stick around and has no interest in being a parent, which is super shitty, but it seemed pretty realistic to me. And Catherine gets a job working for this like developer who I guess like takes properties and flips them, kind of transforms them. Not necessarily like residential, but I think more commercial spaces. Elliot is not the nicest guy. He's not a total dick, which I appreciate. I really don't like when we have a boss-employee situation where the employee is totally like mistreated by the employer. I really, really don't like that. And that's not the case here. He's definitely stoic. He's definitely like my way or the highway, but he is not like abusive or rude outwardly in my opinion. It's interesting the way that the dynamic is built. I kind of thought we would see more of this like antagonistic relationship at the start of the story, but pretty early on we realize she's been working for this guy for like 5 months. We get like a time jump and she is about to have her baby. She has her baby. Liam is out of the picture and she's just kind of trying to figure out what to do. She gets kind of scammed by Liam. He's gone to Australia and they were agreeing to fix up this house together, and it doesn't really work out because he doesn't end up paying like he said he was going to. And so our heroine's in kind of a tough predicament because she's trying to like keep a roof over her head and take care of her recently born baby while she's out on leave. But like, situation's tough, and I think what's going to happen is that Elliot is going to kind of swoop in and help our heroine. He's been pretty helpful, even though he is a little bit stoic. He gave her like $1,000 Target gift card to, spend on her baby. Like, he's not a softie, but well, at least so far, but he's definitely not rude. And I actually don't mind the setup of this book. I'm normally not super into surprise pregnancy or pregnancy in stories, but I like that in this book, it's not a surprise. The pregnancy aspect of the story, at the beginning that she is pregnant. I think it'll be interesting to see how this works. I kind of like the idea of like a playing house kind of book. That doesn't bother me at all. I feel like I saw that in Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young, which is another pregnancy centered romance that I didn't hate because again, it wasn't really that much of a surprise. I mean, I guess it was accidental, was kind of a surprise, but you find out so early on that it is just like an element of the story rather than something that's like a wrench thrown into people's plans. So I don't know. I like this book so far. I don't know if this is one that I would have picked up on my own. I think this is a interesting contrast to The Fake Out because that one is definitely very tailored to me. Author I've read before, sports romance, fake dating, like those are things that I have searched on Amazon. Makes sense that that would be recommended for me. The only like pregnancy books I've really read have been an Elsie Silver book and Out on a Limb, but I didn't seek those out because they were pregnancy novels, and I didn't necessarily like search up surprise pregnancy or like accidental pregnancy in the search bar. So like, there's no reason that they would necessarily recommend this one to me, especially since I don't really like billionaire romances. Like, I typically don't read this sort of thing, or like boss employee. None of the elements of the story are things that I'm attracted to or drawn to, but yet I think this story is doing a good job at taking those elements and doing them well. So I don't know. I like it. I don't see this being a 5-star, but it could surprise me. I definitely am not hating anything about it yet, and hopefully that will continue. So I'm going to continue on, I suppose, and finish off this book. If anything wild happens between now and then, I'll let you know, but I doubt it. And then we can start in on our last book, which is, I believe, My Darling Bride. And the cool thing is, one of the cool perks I think about reading on Kindle Unlimited is that occasionally when you check out a book, you'll get the free audiobook copy, which I think is kind of wild. I feel like that happens often with Ilsa Madden Mills. So I have that audiobook and I'll probably listen to it, which is so nice. It'll be like a nice reprieve after having to like use my eyes to read for like all of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one and I will be back. Good morning, bestie friends. I am here to do my makeup and talk to you about books. Favorite thing to do. Hear any background noise? That would be Hayden cooking us lunch. Finished P.S. You're Stinky. I can't actually remember the name of the book and I just think that's way more fun. So we're gonna go with that. I thought it was pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of hesitate with this one. Not even hesitate. I just don't really know how I would really like quantify my enjoyment of it. And I guess I'm rating it 3 stars so we can quantify it that way. It's interesting because the book that I just started, well, not just started, I'm 50% into, My Darling Bride, also gives 3-star vibes, but in a different sense. 3 stars are just tough, okay? Because on the one hand, it could be a book that was really, really enjoyable, just like maybe wasn't technically all that great, or it could be a book that is technically good, but you're just not really connecting with. But this book is the former, right? I feel like this book was an enjoyable read. I liked the way that our hero treated our heroine. I liked that he was all in on the single mom. He wanted to be the dad to her kid, basically. He wanted to be there for her and provide for her, just make her life easy. And I think that that makes for an enjoyable book. If we're looking at romance as wish fulfillment, which I kind of do, I really like when women get fairly treated and nicely treated. It was just an enjoyable experience. And I liked that there really weren't that many major conflicts in this book. It read very easy breezy. Like there wasn't a lot that stressed me out, which I appreciated. That being said, there were a couple of things that I think kept this from being a 4 or a 5-star read, and I put that in my Goodreads review. And you know what? I'm finding that is the key for me to be able to like easily describe books is to write the Goodreads review before I talk about it in a video. But I think with this book, there were 2 main issues. One, conflict and conflict resolution in this book was I think pretty poor, and the characterization of characters I also think was pretty lacking. It's tough because I feel like both hero and heroine, like they did have backstories. We learn a little bit about the heroine and her relationship with her parents. We learn about the hero and his relationship with his mom specifically. But I don't feel like outside of that, we got a lot insight into these characters. Like we don't really understand like what our heroine wants out of life. Like, she takes this job as a secretary, obviously to provide for her daughter. But we don't really know like what she wants, just generally speaking, right? And I think that that's kind of important when you are crafting a romance, because romance is something that slots into your life, right? And it needs to complement the other aspects of your life. So let's say our heroine wants to be an environmentalist and she wants to, I don't know, forsake all worldly possessions, go live somewhere in a remote location, right? That's not really going to work with a deforestation loving billionaire, right? So I think those details are necessary. And it's not like these two were incompatible or I felt like at the end of the book they shouldn't have been together, but I didn't really feel like they should overwhelmingly be together, except for this hero's, I guess, desire to help take care of this woman and like provide for her, which is really cool. But like what do they have in common? I guess she has a little bit of like a attitude, like a spiciness about her that he liked, but I'm just like, I feel like I needed a little bit more behind their characters, and instead I feel like things were a bit two-dimensional, and so it made some of the more emotional moments near the end of the story like a little bit flat and also a little bit corny. I guess I can also touch on the conflict part real quick. Basically, I don't feel like the conflict between hero and heroine was strong enough, and I feel like that's what the conflict needed to be in this particular instance rather than an outside force. But then we do get like an outside force conflict at the 95% mark of the book, and I personally felt that was like too late. It really, again, like upped the corniness factor just because of what the conflict was. When it comes to Amazon's recommendation of this one though, I'm not mad at it. I think that like if I had not been doing this for a video, I don't think I would have been mad about picking this book up, you know? I mean, I'm not mad at it now. I don't think I would be mad at it then. It's definitely outside of my comfort zone. I think it was an interesting enough read, and it did introduce me to a new author. So I don't know. I think this wasn't a total loss, but it definitely is not something that I would have picked up on my own. So I think it was like kind of a miss if we're going off of like Amazon knowing my taste better than me. I think they don't in this particular instance, but that's okay. Now we can talk about My Darling Bride though. And this one, I feel like I'm having an opposite issue. Similar but opposite issue. This is feeling very 3-star to me for different reasons. Essentially, our heroine is dating, I believe, a football player, and he is abusive. So she is trying to escape him. He's been like tracking her, and she's in kind of a bad situation. So she is at a motel, and after kind of like run-in with someone at this motel, she needs to escape the motel. Ends up stealing a Lamborghini that's parked there, and this puts her back into contact with the guy who she stole the car from, because the car ends up like found somewhere completely damaged and wrecked. Even though she was like returning it, basically she like left it at the airport with the key on the tire, and like she left him a note about it. Fortunately, someone saw the keys on the tire and stole the car, and yeah. So anyway, he gets back into contact with this guy, and he is in kind of a bind because he and his younger brother are set to inherit money if they marry, but the stipulations are very clear that the men have to marry women, and one of the brothers is gay, so he is not going to get his inheritance, but he is trying to open, I think, a gym or something like that. His partner, basically the hero of the story, Graham, tells his brother, hey, I will marry someone to get my inheritance, and I will give you this inheritance because I am a professional football player as well, just like I guess the heroine's ex. I don't need this money, and you're not going to accept money from me because you don't want a handout. So I'll marry a woman and I will get your inheritance, and I will give it to you, or I'll get my inheritance and give it to you. Yeah, he basically hits up this woman who has stolen a car from him, and he's like, hey, you're beautiful. You're really good at like fooling people. How about you just fake date / marry me, right? Let's do this. And I won't press charges against you for basically wrecking my $400,000 car. And she's like, you know what? Sounds great. I think he also puts some stuff into order to where like her financial situation is going to be better. Ends up like buying the bookstore that she works at. I think he's going to like provide her some money as well because she can't really afford the mortgage on her apartment in Manhattan that she is living in with her two younger siblings. Her mom, so this book is, there's a lot here. Mom was domestically abused by their father, and so she ended up leaving after she shot the dad. She ends up going to like Costa Rica, I guess, to like kind of escape her life. So our heroine is left to take care of her two younger siblings. I think her sister is like early 20s and has a baby, and so our heroine is like also helping take care of this baby. And then we have like a younger brother as well. There's a lot going on to the story. So this one, it's like obviously it's so much more fleshed out than the other one. Like I'm telling you so many more things about this book because there is so much more there in terms of detail and in terms of the plight of the characters. But the issue is that I'm not really feeling the chemistry between the hero and the heroine. Like it is a fake dating kind of marriage of convenience situation, which I'm normally so on board with. I normally fucking love. In this particular circumstance, I'm just not really like that charmed. And I don't know if it's because I'm listening to the audiobook, but every time I think that to myself, I know that that's not the case because I've listened to very many 5-star audiobooks. It's not like an audiobook necessarily prevents me from enjoying a book, though I will say it like sometimes makes it to where I tune in a little bit less or I'm paying less attention to detail. But in this story, it's like I'm paying attention, especially at this point in the book where the relationship is really starting to be built between the hero and the heroine. I'm just like really not all that impressed, which sucks because I want to really enjoy this story. And I really like Ilsa Madden Mills, but this is just feeling a little flat to me. And I have noticed, and this isn't a call out, right? But I have noticed that authors who tend to publish as frequently as like Ilsa, Megan Quinn, like they tend to have, I think, more strikeouts or like more books that don't work for me because they're publishing at such a accelerated rate. I feel like at that point, I don't know that it's a possibility necessarily to make every single book amazing, right? I don't think the quality is like terrible or anything. I don't think this book is horrible. And that's the same way about Megan Quinn. Like I read her books and she doesn't publish anything that feels unpolished. It's not like that, but it's just like, I think that the depth of the emotion is maybe not there when you're cranking out that many romances. I'm not hating this book. And at this point it's feeling 3-star. Like I know it's not going to be a really, really lowly rated book, but I'm hoping that maybe this like second half will change my mind and get me excited about this book, excited about the characters and like their relationship, because again, it's like so much setup that we haven't really gotten into the romance yet. So there's time for it. Fingers crossed it happens. I finished My Darling Bride, and you know how I said that this couldn't possibly be anything less than 3 stars? It's a 2-star read. It's a 2-star read. This book really let me down. I feel like the setup was interesting enough and I was excited to see where things went, but like a lot of other Goodreads reviewers, I feel like the setup took too long to where whenever the romance started coming in, it didn't really feel organic and it didn't really feel like we had been leading to this from the beginning. Yes, the characters meet at the very beginning of the book, but I like when a story is like, this is what we're doing. Like, let's get into it. This story took way too long to get to the romance, and then the romance just sucked. The lack of development was kind of jarring. I was listening to the audiobook, I set it down, and then I had lunch and picked it back up, and it immediately led into a sex scene, and I was like, wait, where the fuck is this coming from? And it wasn't that I had like skipped ahead on accident, it was just that the sex really just felt like it came out of nowhere, and I feel like that is just never going to work for me. So this is a 2-star book. I did pick this out myself. I don't know where that leaves us, because I feel like we had 2 really strong books, one from Amazon, one from my choice, and then in terms of kind of okay, middle of the road books, me and Amazon, I would say kind of tied. If we're going based on just ratings, yes, we could say Amazon won. But I think if we're going off of vibes, I think I won. I think what I want to take from this, and I think what I have taken from this experience is that I think I know my taste better than Amazon. I know, shocking if we're comparing Amazon versus me, is that I don't think an algorithm can ever truly predict exactly what you're going to like, because even if the tropes are identical between books, the feeling that a book evokes is different. You can't always tell that from like looking at the cover or looking at the synopsis, but I feel like I am obviously better at kind of discerning those things than an algorithm would be. I think this is interesting. It was cool to see how comparable, I guess, my ratings were between books that I picked myself and that Amazon picked for me. I feel confident if I am bored, I guess, going forward with my own choices, or if I'm just feeling lazy, that I can rely on Amazon to pretty reliably predict what I'm going to enjoy. But it is obviously still reassuring that like I am better at predicting my own taste, I think, to an extent than Amazon is. And I think we can really compare that with the 2 5-stars, right? Like the 5-star that I read from Amazon was like very, you know, by the book things that I would like, and it was a really good book. But the book that I took a chance on, the book that I thought that I would enjoy, I enjoyed so much more, even though they were both amazing 5-star reads. So I don't know, this is a fun experiment. I don't think this was maybe my strongest thesis and conclusion of a video ever, but you know what? I had fun doing it. And I love experimenting with different tools on the internet, because I think we forget that these didn't always exist and that algorithms haven't always played a part in our decision making. I feel like now we're always like being suggested things, whether it is Facebook or Instagram ads or, you know, whatever search ads. So it's fun to see how these ads hold up compared to our own actual tastes, and I'm going to be doing probably more of these kinds of videos going forward. I've already done a few on my channel if you want to check them out. Specifically, Goodreads readers also enjoyed. I really like that feature on Goodreads, you know, searching for a book, and they're like, if you like this book, you might like these, but do I? I did 2 video experiments with that idea in mind, so I'll leave those linked in the description. But thanks so much for watching this video. I had such a fun time doing it. I love y'all so much, and I'll see you next time.